Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Terry Cook, co-owner of the original and only Brothers Choppers, founded in 1969 in Huntington Beach, California. Having my lifetime goal set in 1965 to someday become the builder of the Rolls Royce of the motorcycle has brought me to a place where there is no one else. In 1965, my lifetime goal was set to someday become that builder of the Rolls Royce. Offer options that all others have not ever dreamed of, having my own design. I knew we had to break world records. We knew we had to do things that nobody else has ever done before. So as Rolls-Royce, we knew we had to have more than just one division. So now we have 17 divisions of green products to be made in all 50 states and 7 provinces to launch the hydrogen economy, hemp and self-sufficient industry in this country, but not limited to this country. I've been writing letters to the editor for the last 4 years. I found this to be my best avenue of communication. It's perfect. I have people challenging me on what I say, and then I am responding to their challenge. Well, in the first couple years I had several. And some say, Mr. Cook, there's not enough farmland in this whole country to supply 1/10 of our energy needs. Jack Hare, the late and great progressive Jack Hare, of the author of The Emperor Wears No Clothes, has proven facts that 6% of our farmland is enough to supply all of our energy needs. He firmly believed with all his heart of 45 years of research, hemp was the answer to saving our planet. Edwin Black, author of the Internal Combustion book, came out with stories that people have not ever heard because these facts were kept from the average person. And that is, he firmly believes that hydrogen is the answer for saving our planet. Neither one knew each other, and one did not know about each other's way of thinking. I say we use both hydrogen and hemp to send this country into a direction we should have went a long time ago for the good of mankind, not for just a few chosen few. I got a couple little letters I'm going to read out to you, and I'm going to respond to them. And this one came about this one just came yesterday or today. Pot users are hazardous, even though studies have shown just in the recent year or two, since it's been legalized in a couple states in this country, that is contrary to what it really is. Pot has less accidents, less hazardous. But anyway, here's what he says. Pot only leads to proven cases of narcissism, delusions of grandeur, and obsessive compulsive behavior. I have worked near people who use marijuana. Under the influence of dope, they are a hazard to me and to themselves. It is addictive, or they could control it. I don't want these idiots around me. I prefer intelligent people. My letter responding to him was that, in response to Burl Greer, 6/8/2014, pot only leads to proven cases of narcissism, delusions of grandeur, and obsessive compulsive behavior. You have just described the 2 leaders of Finley's biggest businesses. Jane, my wife of 42 years, says, you have just described all men. So, in all of that attempted bashing, there is no mention of hate, jealousy, possessiveness, or violence. That is because pot does not bring those negative character flaws into your brain cells. It eliminates them like cancer cells. while keeping the good thoughts and good selves. Our world's greatest, not greediest, minds smoke pot. You are not aware of that. Please Google scientific research and real facts about the cannabinoids in cannabis. View that 3-hour video. This is a video that has chock full of the most highly educated professors in medical science. And they have come up with these conclusions that they were not even thinking that they would, because they've been brainwashed like everybody else. Every living being, whether you be a fish, bird, or a human, or dog, or cat, you have cannabinoid receptors in your body. When you ingest cannabis, when you ingest cannabis in either hemp or marijuana, it enhances the functions of your body, from your brain to every organ in it. Alright, the next letter we have was written several days ago. It is, we're going bankrupt. This letter is to President Obama, Al Gore, and Terry Cook. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He made coal and fossil fuel for his people to use. You claim that greenhouse fumes come from that fuel. That has never been proven. Gore claimed that there was global warming. He has made millions of dollars on a lie. There are people that got on the bandwagon and told a lot of lies. Cook believed the lies. All you hear from him is hemp. He says that gas will come from that junk, and that it will cost $2.50 a gallon. But Obama says it will be over $5 a gallon. Keep dreaming. There are over 20 million Christians that do not vote. We need to get everyone out to vote so you can get rid of what is trying to bankrupt this country. We need to get rid of Reid and Pelosi. We need someone that knows what to do. So please, get out and vote. William P. Smith, Livingston, Ohio. My letter to Bill. In response to William Smith, July 7th, I have so little in common with the President and former Vice President. They have money, power, influence, but no plan to stop our downward spiral. Record amounts of revenue being taken from the productive class to go to the obstructive class of greedy evildoers, or to turn our country to a far more positive direction. I don't have power, influence, or millions in the bank. I will never have millions in the bank. I currently have no power or influence, but I do have the power of the truth. And the only plan to launch the hydrogen economy, hemp, and self-sufficient industry to put our country on the biggest upsurge economically and for the good of health of ourselves and future generations. They do not. God made hemp and hydrogen to use in a way that brings prosperity to many, not just a chosen few, and does not trash this earth like fossil fuel and poison chemicals. I have the same belief that 98% of climate scientists have. Man is wrecking our planet right now. If you wish to believe the 2%, that is your prerogative. I wish the 20 million Christians you wrote about would have signed the petition in the state of Ohio to put hemp and medical marijuana on the ballot. That would have been a good thing that good people could have done. You said, keep dreaming. I will. If I can dream of a better land where all my brothers walk hand in hand, tell me why, oh why can't my dream come true? It's too complicated, too dangerous, deemed impossible because it's never been done before. I challenge all of that to be a part of my quest to dream the impossible dream, to make this planet better for the common man. Alrighty. Okay. Back in 1970, I rode my chopper up to the local go-kart shop. A man named Jerry Soltz, highly educated in aerodynamics and structural engineering. I asked Jerry, if I take this design, my design of gas tank, and I were to turn it around backwards, wouldn't that be the most aerodynamic trailer body design of any in the world? He says, well, you would be wedging through the air, but in aerodynamics, it is the rear that is the prevailing factor. So turn it around frontwards, but instead of running this out to a point, you run this down to an angle. This is the same angle the Cadillac DeVille and the Lincoln came out with in the 70s when the oil embargo hit. This is the most aerodynamic design of any trailer body in the world. Now, shaped like a wing that way, almost shaped like a wing that way, but it did everything like a Rolls Royce. They took the best designs of something and they added lines to it to accent the shape. So, thousands of man-hours went into shaping my plugs to be ripple-free, flawless designs. And I chose all Harley drag racing to be my motorsport to break records. I have the 3 best nitro crew chiefs. Next year we will be going after not just 1 or 2 of our records. We will not sleep well at night until we have taken every mile per hour ET record at 60 foot, 1/8 mile, 1,000 foot, and 1/4 mile in all motorcycle sanctions in the history of motorcycle drag racing. Okay, we have hemp hearts. This is the world's best food, bar none. You can live off of this, live to be 100. Hemp seeds, chopped up, shells removed, gives you the best nutrition of anything that you can possibly put in your body. $15, buy this little container, and you put the tablespoons on any food you have, but I use my oatmeal and my yogurt, and this is really good stuff. It tells the benefits and everything, but if you Google up the benefits of hemp seeds, you'll find a whole page of chock full of hundreds of reasons why you should be taking hemp seeds. Hemp lotion. By far, the best lotion one can put on their skin. You put this on, and your body, every square inch of your body, will say thank you very much. If it wasn't for this right now, I don't know if I could walk on my feet, because they get dried out, cracked, and you know, all kinds of things growing on the bottom of them. This keeps them moist and comfortable, and these 2 items would not be here in this United States. 5 years ago, it would have been against the law to possess these items of health and nutrition. Wasn't for a group of the coolest people that I've ever seen, had enough money pulled together, hired a staff of attorneys that took it to the high courts of this country. Now we are allowed to consume the finest nutrition and use the finest of products for our health care, inside and out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for them, we'd still be being deprived. Okay. Our enlightenment presentation is going to have facts that the average person does not know. I'm going to start out with the first 2. Number 1 cause of breast cancer is the use of antiperspirant, women and men. The diesel engine was built to run on vegetable oil, not fossil diesel fuel, which is poisonous, causes problems the air, and in the process of making it causes problems with all our environment. So we're phasing out fossil fuel and poison chemicals in the next 5 years. The next 5 years will bring more positive things than we have ever seen in our whole lifetime, because it's simply time to end our living in a modern day dark age, stop and reverse our downward spiral, and to bring our country to what it should have been a long time ago. And that is using the power of the sun and the wind and your downspout water to become self-sufficient. Not taking 80% of your paycheck goes to energy of some kind. So, several ways to enhance one's economy. That is to make more money or spend less money. So, we have 1 million rooftops in this country that needs to be made green. A rooftop can supply all its occupants with all of your needs. Your heat, the fuel for your vehicles, your food, your water, your herbs. That's what a rooftop can bring. So we have 20 million jobs that we can bring into this country. And these are not new jobs. We're just taking jobs of making products out of poison, chemicals, and fossil fuel, and we're changing our ingredients into hemp and hydrogen. So, our next video will be at the Xenia's All Harley Drag Racing in 2 weeks. We'll be there. My wife and Jane and I will be both racing our bracket bikes. I have 1,000 passes on this bike, and Jane has 500 passes on her street bike. If we put the struts on, the wheelie bar, she goes out and we bracket race. We're just little 900,000 cc engines, and we're usually the first one out at bracket racing, and so they have to catch us. And most of the time, they won't beat Jane. 65% of the time, she wins her drag race. 45% of the time, I win my drag race. So if you beat either one of us, you've done quite well. So, this bike has 4 split fire spark plugs in it. When split fires first came out in the 70s, my friend said, I'm not buying any of those, they cost way too much. So I bought a 4-pack, and those are the same 4 split fires I am running in this bike 300,000 miles later. I have 2 coils and a single fire Dyna ignition with no advance or retard mechanism. It is a straight shaft going through, set to the peak of performance, runs and sounds better than any other engine. Just 55 cubic inches, putting out 80 horses, but it is the hardest to start. Kickstart this thing can take 1 kick or can take 45. So, this angle of fork degree is of such I can go down the road with no hands all day long. I can cut a corner sharper than any stock bike because my inner fork stops are set at 44 degrees. I have a dozen items on here I built myself, and once out of every 100, 150 times I launch, I'm going up on the RPMs, and I let that clutch fly about 4,000 RPMs on its way up, breaks the tire loose, and I spin for 10 or 20 feet, pull in a wheel stand, and go on down through there. Every once in a while that track gets so sticky I cannot break that back tire loose, and I go into a very high wheel stand when I come down. It pays a toll. And I have broke this frame, and I have broke the distributor of the generator right off the thing. So I've repaired it and I haven't drag raced with it for 12 years, but I'm returning to the strip this year, and next year I'll be back with my Pro Fuel Harley. 9-inch tire bike, running 133 cubic inch, weighing 450 pounds, going against monsters. 650 pound bikes with 155 cubic inch motors with 14-inch wide tires. I shoot out in front, pull that wheelie, and as long as my front tire is off that ground, I'm flying like Superman, not high but low. As long as I'm flying, have that front wheel off that pavement, the monster cannot catch me. When it sets down, here they come. And they blow past me about 220 miles an hour. So, I have the littlest bike, and I am the underdog. But I can beat anyone in any given day. A Pro Fuel bike's fuel-injected high-gear bike has the ability to beat a Top Fuel multi-speed, 175 cubic inch, 15-inch wide tire, 800-pound bike. It can take it out. The beauty of all Harley drag racing is that the one with the most money does not always win. The one that cuts the best light and has the best tune in the bike can win championships. My top troubleshooting Nitro crew chief is Jim Arnold. He came out in 2004 with Dale Nungaster. He put the finest tune on a bike that ever could be. They took the #1 Top Fuel plate the first year going out as a team away from a half a dozen millionaires. And they did it by never showing up with the fastest bike, but they put a tune in to get it from the most rounds, and that's what wins championships. So, we have things, perfect time for a perfect plan. 20 years ago, I was granted permission to cap all metal guardrails on all drag strips after seeing friends die on those metal guardrails. They work quite dandy for cars, but are lethal death traps for us. So, Sherry Williams, mother of 2 and wife, been drag racing for a couple hundred passes down the strip, lost control, went into a metal guardrail, and had her face ripped off her head. Frank Poole, very experienced Top Fuel racer, going on a run just after my wife made her test and tune pass in Bradenton, Florida, 20 years ago, fighting a hard wind, going from left to right, halfway down the track, his bike's leaning over, his wheelie bar broke, sending him into the guardrail, jarred his right hand off of that handlebar, and it went into the well of no return. Post ripped his arm right off his body. So, I approached the National Council of the NHRA, Russ Dean, and the director of the IHRA, Robert Leonard, to cap all those metal guardrails. They said, whoa, he says, we'll have to get back with you. No one has ever done that before. I said, okay. So they both got back with me 6 months later, within an hour, saying, here are your terms, Mr. Cook. This plate of steel must be a 1/2 inch thick, 8 inch wide plate of steel, welded to the top, all sharp edges ground smooth, and totally at your expenses. I said, thank you very much. I'll be back. And I am back with several ideas on how we can create the revenue to make this happen. One is 10% of all items built by Brothers Choppers, 50,000 items made from hemp. 10% of that purchase price goes to capping metal guardrails in this country. When we cap all the metal guardrails, we go after all the drag strips to make them all bike friendly. We taking out all posts sticking up that one can get wrapped around. We're taking out the sand pits with the net, which works quite dandy for cars, but nobody can ride a bike into a sand pit. That will serve as their last pass of their life. Ray Price, the legend, man who owns the most successful Harley-Davidson shop in this world, top fuel champion, made his last pass in Vegas. Some say, hey, he didn't get off the throttle quick enough, but he should have learned when one of his riders went into the sand pits in Canada 4 years sooner. Tony Mataloni rode his top fuel bike, or Ray Price's top fuel bike, into a sand pit. You have to get off the bike. If you race long enough, or you ride on the street long enough, there will become a time when you must, what was your best friend, you must leave, or you will die. My foot pegs are here. This is where I ride. If I'm out in the country, nothing's around, I put them up in the highway bars. I do not run forward controls so I can look like Jesse James. They're down here, so in the event somebody makes a left in front of me, I have a plan. I don't have to think about it. I jump up as high and as fast as I can, and that has saved my life twice. If I had no plan, I would not be here standing and talking. If I would have been riding with forward controls, the top half would try to go over the top of the handlebars. The bottom half would try to go under the handlebars, or fly over and hit my head on that immovable object and die with a pool of blood there. So, having a plan for every kind of scenario one can have riding on the street or on the strip is essential to live to see your next drag race or your next day of riding. If you have no plan, if you have to think about what you must do, too late, game's over. You're out of it. You're a statistic. We're going to leave you now, and our next video will be at the All Harley Drags. You will be entering a domain where mutual respect and love dominates more than any other place on the face of this earth. Come visit us there. You don't need to bring your earplugs. We're 2-cylinder engines, and we are having a lot of fun. So, the 26th and 27th of July, Xenia, Ohio, be there or be square. See you later, folks.